What's going on, everybody? Got a quick little video for y'all. Got the full Android Saga team, 16, 17, and 18. And honestly, I think basically every Android on this game is slept on. Like, post-patch, I've only really seen Dr. Willow, and he's a giant, so it like barely counts. And sometimes 18, and even more rare than that, 17. But I've never seen anybody use 16 on this game like that. So I just decided to throw this team together and see what really I could do with it. And honestly, I really like the results. So I decided to start off with 16 because I really like how he plays. I like how he has this super health flash, and it's basically like an ultimate. It's unblockable, although you do have to be like right on your opponent. Doesn't really matter because you get that super armor on it, and usually like 7 times out of 10 you'll be able to land it on your opponent. Now, besides the range issue, the only real other downside to it is that it costs 4 key bars. Now, if you're not familiar with androids and how they play in this game, every single one of them, I guess besides Mecha Frieza if you count him, I don't, but it is what it is, like they cannot charge their key. I mean, I guess if you count them going into sparking mode, but I really don't because that's just an in-game mechanic, like that's how you enter sparking mode. But anyway, yeah, they can't charge their ki, however they can gain ki a lot faster than any other character in-game that's not an android. And this is done passively, so there's no effort in on you, you just gain ki throughout the match, and that's really helpful. Because it basically forces you to play a rushdown game as opposed to the same game everyone else seems to be playing, and that's, you know, the I'm gonna lay back for a bit, charge up my ki, and just throw raw supers or try and Z-dash you into a super. And honestly, I think that's really good for the state of the game because it's just a different way to play. Like, it's really refreshing. Since you're forced to play differently, it kind of forces your opponent to have to play differently themselves because they're just getting rushed down constantly and they're not really able to try and get that key advantage on you. At least not the way they're normally used to playing it. But like, honestly, overall, I think playing androids is really fun because it's just a different experience, and honestly, it's a nice change of pace, especially if you want to shake things up and play differently. So personally, I think the best android out of the 3 I'm playing in this video is Android 18. And to be more specific, Android 18 with her 5th outfit on. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is because that outfit actually gives her access to a different super move. Normally she has an energy wave, but the outfit gives her access to Chain Destructo Disc. And it's the same cost, but for a much better attack that goes through blocks, instead of just a generic Ki Blast volley. So the different outfit looks better, gives her a better move, and she also has access to Instant Spark mode. Now, I haven't put too many hours into playing androids, but I've noticed Android 18 is one of the few ones that I'm actually able to get into sparking mode with. And that's mostly because she has that instant spark mode. And not only does she have the instant spark as a skill, she also has the android barrier. And although it does cost 1 extra skill point than it does for Android 17, it's still just a really good part of her toolkit. And with all those initial thoughts, that's what makes me really think that she's the best android out of the 3 I'm playing now. And at a very close second is Android 16, and I don't know if it's too much about how he plays, it's just how cool I think the character is, honestly. And that bias really just comes from how I play fighting games. In basically every fighting game that I've touched, I really like to gravitate towards the big heavy characters. You know, doesn't matter that they're slow, it's just straight up big oogie boogie, me one fight, and do big damage. But you know, that aside, he still has that cool unblockable and he has an explosive wave, so he's not all bad. Especially since he does fight a bit slower than all the top meta characters, it's a bit harder for people to get the super counters off on him because the timing's just that little bit different. On top of all that, if things really just aren't going your way during a battle, you could always attempt his ultimate, which, you know, it might take him out as a character, but it's definitely going to do a lot of damage to your opponent, if not take out their character. And you just gotta weigh your options on whether you want to try and do that or not, because, that is a all or nothing sort of deal. But since it's so high risk, high reward, it might just be the deciding factor on if you win or not. And third best from this team is, unfortunately, Android 17. Now, I'm not saying he's bad in any stretch, but he's just not the best in this team, at least. I mean, overall, he is a solid character. He's got great combo game, great mobility, and he has an Android barrier that costs less than the one for Android 18. It's just all the positives for him really stop right there. So with all those things, especially compared to Android 16 and Android 18, like, he just really falls short comparatively. Again, not bad, so maybe he could be one of the characters you want to start out with as opposed to anchoring with. And that really just goes if you're running a team similar to this, or if you need that 5 DP cost character and you want to use 17. Now, the reason I chose to start off with Android 16 as opposed to 17 is really just a my comfort thing, because I feel as if I can get some good damage in and I play a bit better than I do with 17. And also, if things really aren't going well, it's better to try and do that last ditch effort technique now as opposed to swapping and then trying to gain that ability to do so, and in the process losing a lot of health on 2 characters as opposed to just the one. And even then, I could always just try and swap out and have 2 characters in the front line while he does get some health back, as opposed to just the one character in the front line. But with all those things considered, overall, does a team full of androids work? I think so. Their overall flaws and shortcomings aren't bad enough to make them that much of a detriment to run on a team, and depending on which android you choose to use, the positives could really put you over a lot of different characters you'd go up against. My personal favorites being androids 18, 16, and 13. Mostly because they really just bring something different to the table, and I feel like that adds a little bit of extra fun to the game. But overall, that's just my thoughts on how androids are in this game and whether or not you should give them a try. Whether you like the fact that they have infinite ki, you think they have strong skill abilities, or you just really like the way they play, I think you should definitely give these androids a try. Now, will they be meta-defining or broken characters ever? Most likely not, but will they more than likely catch your opponent off guard? Absolutely. And just off of that, that might just be the deciding factor on whether you win the game or you lose. But anyway, that's really all I got for y'all on this video, so like the video if you like the video, comment and subscribe, and as always, peace.